Okay, thank you very much for the introduction. Hey, I'm Bingbing Cheng, and I work with Dr. Rajiv Chopra from UT Southwestern. So today I want to talk about blood-brain barrier opening using focused ultrasound with nanobubbles on the recently developed real-time acoustic feedback control algorithm. So previously, our lab developed a portable ultrasound system combined with the neuroscience through taxic platform with Brain Atlas to achieve targeted blood-brain barrier opening without MR guidance. Using this system, we were able to open the blood-brain barrier and deliver anti-cancer drug, for example, LDL-shaped nanoparticles into a desired brain region. And more recently, we incorporated this system with the hydrophone to monitor the real-time acoustic emission of the stimulated bubbles throughout the experiment. And mainly, we are looking at ultraharmonics. And during the feedback loop, the ultrasound energy or ultrasound pressure was adjusted in a real-time manner, trying to maintain that ultraharmonic emission at the desired level to achieve a more reliable, robust blood-brain barrier opening. So by using this algorithm and this system, we were able to open the BBB with two commercially available microbubbles, Ultrasound Definity, and a custom-made nanobubble. So interestingly, we found out that the nanobubble has a better control performance compared with the other two microbubbles. If we're looking at the green lines on the right, actually that is the acoustic emission over time of the nanobubble. We compared with the red line in the middle and the black line in the left. So the signal is less noisy. So that's why we started this study to evaluate the BBB opening with nanobubbles on the real-time feedback control. This nanobubble was originally invented by a group in Case Western. We collaborated with them, and now we started making our own. So this nanobubble actually is no big different from microbubble. The gas core is the same, C3F8. It is also a lipid-based bubble. The major difference, I would say, is we incorporated poronic polymer on the surface to reduce the bubble size to around 280 nanometers. And another big difference is its concentration 2 to 3 orders of magnitude than a microbubble, which reached 10 to the 11th bubbles per mil. So some of the in vitro acoustic properties of this nanobubble are similar to the microbubble, but some are not. For example, here, in the left figure, we're showing when we dilute the nanobubbles, we didn't see an immediate acoustic intensity decrease. Actually, after we diluted more than 2,000 times, we start seeing this decrease phenomenon. It also has a long in vitro persistence compared with the microbubble. For example, with the original concentration of the nanobubble, which is the first column, we can see its persistence can reach around like 10 minutes. Speaking of the in vivo circulation time, it is tested under fixed pressure, 0.54 megapascal. And after bolus injection, we can see with the original concentration nanobubble, it has a circulation time around 10 minutes. After we diluted 10 times, 100 times, the circulation time dropped to 5 to 6 minutes, still similar or even longer than the microbubble circulation time. So finally, we used those nanobubbles with 3 different concentrations under feedback control for BBB opening. So the top panel here is showing the control performance. The green lines are the acoustic signals over time, showing the ultraharmonic emission. And the orange dots above that is the real-time adjusted ultrasound pressure by the system itself. Okay. So one difference I want to mention between this experiment and other experiments is we're using infusion instead of bolus injection, trying to maintain a stable bubble concentration in the bloodstream throughout the experiment. And the bottom panel here, the MS blue dye leakage indicate that we were able to open the BBB by using all those 3 concentrations of nanobubble. And statistically, we compare the control performance across 3 different dilution or concentration across multiple animals targets. We were able to maintain the AUC of the acoustic emission around our target level, which is 0.05. So you can see they are very close to 0.05. And another point I want to mention is the focal pressure adjusted by the system itself varies from 0.3 to 0.4 megapascal during the whole BBB opening experiment, which is close to the lower end of the safe pressure zone people used to open the blood-brain barrier. In most of the cases, we don't see any damage either to the neurons or to the brain parenchyma, like figure C here shows. But in some cases, very occasionally, we do see some red blood cell expressation. So in conclusion, The acoustic properties of the nanobubbles against the concentration have been characterized both in vitro and in vivo. In general, it has a long persistence time and in vivo circulation time. It also has a robust harmonic response, specifically at the ultra harmonics. And by using all three tested concentrations, nanobubbles, we were able to open the BBB and real-time acoustic feedback control with a reasonable signal-noise ratio. Although, I mean, with lower bubble concentration, we do see the signal-noise ratio actually dropped. So the opening effect of nanobubbles across different concentrations or across different animals, targets are robust and reliable. So one missing part here is that we didn't compare the drug delivery efficiency by using those three different concentrations or different parameters. So that would be our next steps. Okay, we are thankful for those funding resources, and thank you. I would like to take questions.
Any questions from the audience?
In your second slide, when you showed the high variability of the signal that you get from the microbubbles, there was like a characteristic frequency there.
We're using a half megahertz.
No, it was like a minute or something like this. There was a characteristic frequency for the oscillations of the signal.
I'm sorry, are you asking for the duration
in the
of
second slide? In the second slide, yeah.
Are you asking the duration of the BB opening experiment?
No, it was more about like the lack of stability of the Definity acoustic emission.
So that signal lasts for 100 seconds, and that is the duration we used for BB opening.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Over here.
What is the motivation to use nanobubbles over microbubbles?
Okay, so that's a very good question. Actually, we keep asking ourselves about that question because because the whole field is focused on the microbubble. Yes, microbubble. So basically, we very occasionally have the access to the nanobubble. We're just curious, what would be, because we just developed like a similar work to Dr. McDonald, like closed-loop feedback control algorithm. We're just trying to compare different bubble formulations and see which one has a best performance. And very surprisingly, we see this nanobubble with the diameter 1 order of magnitude lower than the microbubble has the best control performance. So that's basically the motivation. And another motivation is actually from the group who invented this nanobubble in Case Western, they are using this nanobubble for tumor imaging because in some of the tumors, there are many newly generated blood vessels. Those are very small. So that tiny, so the micro size sometimes cannot reach those areas. So this might be another advantage even for the blood-brain barrier opening in the tumor, like embedded animal or patient. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.